Welcome to the fray, Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 video. And today, I've gotten so many messages, so many everythings about me wanting to talk about the new update, and I have a lot of things to say about the new update. I have a lot of different opinions, but I kind of want to make this a whole video binded to the fact of the current state of Borderlands. What do I think? What do I believe the current state of Borderlands is? What things can we improve upon, and what things can we give Gearbox credit for? And I'm basically going to go over a bunch of that kind of stuff in today's video. So sit down, get a snack or two, maybe get a drink, because this might be a little bit longer of a video. But because I want to start off on a positive note, let's go off with all the positive things that I personally love about the game right now. Now, in terms of the new update that came out, I believe, yesterday, the drop locations is actually a very great improvement to the game. It's going to be a lot easier to do the Hunt 2020. It's going to be a lot easier to get your character progression through a lot quicker. And it gives it more of that Borderlands feel to where everything has a drop source. Not everything technically has a drop source right now, but it's definitely been really improved upon, which I am all for. I think that's very awesome. That's because in Borderlands 3, when it first came out, there wasn't really a lot of drop locations for weapons. It was only, I think, like 10 or 12 that had a drop location. But I'm glad to see that that has a fix. And of course, a lot of bug fixes have been addressed with this new update. Of course, head count got fixed, but it didn't entirely get fixed. It's still bugged in its own way. It still has issues that people are complaining about, and I agree, because sometimes your rack attack will be stuck in an infinite loop, and that can get very annoying when you're doing true takedown, not gonna lie to you. But of course, at least they actually addressed it for once, so I'll give them credit for that, for at least attempting to fix it. And of course, how can I even go further without talking about Eridium usage? Of course, we got the new gun update, so we can actually get legendary weapons and quest reward items from the gun, which is actually really badass. You don't have to reset your playthrough and do the mission again. You don't have to read-only farm. I do have 50,000 Eridium. I haven't used any of it yet, so I don't know if I might do that for a video. I honestly don't know. I might do it to test out the drop rates. But that's awesome to see. The gun has a real purpose now, and it's not just there to look cool on your display case in your room. And of course, Eridium Vendor that Crazy Earl has, that also has quest reward items, and that thing is awesome because I've been farming that, and I've got red suits from it. I've gotten so many pieces of useful gear that I need for my builds that it's ridiculous. And I'm glad that they added something like this. It's going to be a lot easier to farm quest reward gear that you need, maybe for that one build you want. Maybe you aren't on PC, you're on console, and you need to farm it, and of course you can't just download a save file, so this is good for all platforms. And we did get 21 anointments removed. Of course, those anointments were basically useless, nobody used them, they were never incorporated into builds, and they removed them, but as of recording this video, which is July 25th, they actually have not fixed it. It's actually still a bug, and they are still dropping in-game. To my knowledge, I don't think they tweeted anything about this, but I'm sure they probably know. It's only been a day, but the anointments are still dropping. But it's cool that once it does start working, it's going to be a lot easier, because that means it's going to be easier to get the anointments we want, and they're probably going to add more anointments that are actually useful for different characters. They might do more character-specific anoints, like when Flak uses rack attack, he gets increased something. You know, they already have something like that, but you get the point. They're going to be more creative with their anointments. And that moves on to the topic of general quality of life improvements, which of course is amazing when it comes to performance, all that kind of stuff. All that simple quality of life changes, the fixes, the progression blockers in the campaign, all very nice stuff. And they have optimized the game a little bit better than it used to be. It's not exactly a smooth game, but Borderlands as a series has never been a smooth game because there's always mayhem going on, so you can't really expect a crisp 120 frames all the time. But I'm glad to see they're actually taking initiative to do that and make the game run a little bit better with the whole Recursion Nerf and everything, but that doesn't mean I support the Nerf. I'll get to that here in a second. Now, the last positive thing I want to talk about is they listen to us sometimes. I have to take that with a grain of salt. The word sometimes is in there. They listen to us sometimes, and when they do, the community is happy, and I'm happy. Of course, if you love Borderlands and they listen to you, you're going to be happy about it. But I had to throw in a little asterisk there that says sometimes, because sometimes they just completely ignore us. Flex has so many bug skills for almost 4 or 5 months now, even 1 or 2 skills that have been bugged since release, and he hasn't been addressed. And now this is where I'm going to transition into all of the negative points I want to go over, and that is Flak. Flak has been my main Vault Hunter since I started playing Borderlands. Needless to say, obviously he's my most played Vault Hunter. But my problem is he has not gotten a lot of love compared to the other Vault Hunters. And a lot of people will say this because, well, he's performing great and all the other Vault Hunters are underperforming. And I could agree with that. Back when Borderlands first came out, Flak was one of the overperforming Vault Hunters. And obviously people liked Flak because of the crit damage, one-shot Grave Ward back then and all that. But now the characters, the 4 Vault Hunters in my opinion, are balanced. They all have strengths and they all have weaknesses. But I'm starting to feel like, as a Flak player and as a Flak main, with this ASE nerf and the Ricochet nerf, that even if this nerf never happened, Flak is still one of the lower tier Vault Hunters. And I know you guys, you might get mad saying, well, you love Flak, why would you call him one of the worst? He isn't a bad character. I'm saying in comparison to the other Vault Hunters, he's underperforming. And you may say, well, oh, you're just complaining because you don't know how to make the right build for Flak. No. Amara, she's been an amazing Vault Hunter since launch. Her builds right now, she just has to use her action skill and anything in the game dies. Iron Bear got a well-deserved buff. I'm not going to complain about the Iron Bear buff because Moze needed it. It's a good thing for her, and it's a viable option for her kit. And I don't think Iron Bear should be touched, regardless of the people complaining. I think Iron Bear is in a really good spot for her because Iron Bear used to suck Gorilla Titties, but now it's actually a very viable build option. But now we're trying to go over Zane, the one that started off as Mr. I have a clone, and now he's Mr. I let my clone do everything. Zane's powerful. Zane is, honestly, he's one of the better Vault Hunters in the game right now. His clone is insane. His kit is insane. He could really pick up any gun and be good with it, and I think that's one of the special things Zane has. But my problem is I listed all these great things, and I want to ask you a question right now. I named everything great about the other Vault Hunters, but I'm going to ask you, the person watching, what is the greatest thing Flak has that's not Megavore, that will help him in solo situations? Okay, great. If you just said Red Fang Gamma Burst combo, then you understand where my problem rises. Flak has always been that character that does crit damage and very good single target damage, but I feel like he's just falling off. I mean, Red Fang is great, of course. Stackbot is a great mod. I'm not saying Flak doesn't have build diversity, but what does he have to offer that the other Vault Hunters can't offer? If you think about it, Zane, he has a whole Dome clone combo, and he basically has Red Fang built into him with that type of combo, drawing enemy fire. If you go into Moze, you have an Iron Bear to tank for you, and if you have Auto Bear, they're going to target that. Now if you have Amara with Ties That Bind, everything in the area is going to get hung up in the air and they can't even shoot you regardless. But I'm not trying to bash on Flak. I'm not trying to complain about the fact that he's not one of the better performing Vault Hunters. I'm just trying to say, in my opinion, he's slowly falling towards the bottom of the Vault Hunter tier list just because he doesn't have as much to offer anymore. Even if this nerf never happened, it's been on my mind for a while. And that goes into the next big topic that everybody wants me to talk about. Everyone cares, everyone wants me to talk, and that's the recursion. What do you think about the recursion nerf? Well, I have mixed emotions about it. The first emotion is, why would they nerf the recursion this late into Borderlands' life cycle? I mean, it's been, what, almost a year now? And now they decide to completely change the way we play the game. ASE ricochets have always been a part of the game, and arguably, I could say a lot of us adapted to having it become a normal thing. But that doesn't mean it was an intentional thing. But to be fair, I could understand where the annoyance comes from, because to me, ASE ricochets have always been a part of the game. It hasn't been a glitch or a bug. But according to a lot of people, they're saying it is a glitch or a bug, and you know, to each their own. But another thing is, I see a lot of these bigger YouTubers, they're really trying to hide the fact that they're disappointed with an update. It's like, I doubt this is true, but it's like they're getting paid to not complain about things, but I highly doubt that's the case. That's just me being myself, but I feel like they're not saying what's on their mind. I've seen Moxie, he did a video on the recursion, and I could tell he was just hesitating to express what he was really feeling. Like, he hesitated, and there's a bunch of other YouTubers that have done the same thing, and I just don't understand. If you don't like an update, speak out about it, you know? Like, let people know that, hey, I don't like this update, I don't like this thing. It's not going to ruin your image. Yeah, your video might get some more dislikes, but I'm not afraid to tell you guys what I feel about an update. My opinion doesn't matter over anybody else's opinion. My opinion is my opinion, and I think everyone that plays Borderlands should have an opinion on the game because you enjoy the game and you love playing the game. And that takes me over into another thing. When it comes to limiting this kind of build diversity, I feel like it's not going to really limit it in a way of what gun I could use. This is going to more limit to the fact of mobbing with certain builds, because a lot of builds, when it comes to mobbing, the Recursion, the Brainstormer, the Reflux, even the Hyper Focus, they have all been solid choices for mobbing. And now I'm starting to see maybe Gearbox wants us to shift into a meta to where rocket launchers are your main source of AoE damage, which I could understand that because that's kind of how it was in Borderlands 2. There wasn't a bunch of AoE normal weapons. You could kind of count the Herald as splash damage, but not in the sense that the Recursion did group damage. But they might be trying to shift the meta, which I ain't really, I guess, mad with. At the end of the day, the Recursion nerf, I feel like it was needed, but they gave us a very shitty reason to say so. Their exact wording was, we did it to fix performance. But they could have fixed so many other things if that was really the case. You could have changed the animations on the projectiles, maybe to a lower quality, or maybe less particles so it didn't cause as much lag. And if the case was there's too much RAM taking up the entities, and it was hitting too many at once, you could have lowered, of course, the visuals. And using performance issues as a excuse for it is kind of shitty, in my opinion. Because if you don't remember, Borderlands 2... you just had to get drunk with the grog nozzle and shoot the Mongol up in the air 5 times, and whoever was host, their game crashed. So I don't think performance was really on their mind. I think they just don't want the feature in the game. They want to shift the meta to what the players want. And like I said, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with shifting the meta, but be honest with your players. Don't just say, oh, yeah, performance issues. You know what I mean? I would rather you be upfront with me than give me a shitty reason for something that I know you didn't do it for. But maybe the first thing in their mind was performance. But even if it was, they could have took other steps to fix that. My issue is anointments in this game control 90% of the builds that people run. If you think about it, when you're setting up a new build, when you want to make something new and fresh, you always have to look for the right anointments because it's going to help your damage. Now, back in level 57 Mayhem 4... the 7th Sense, if you guys remember that pistol when it first came out, it had no anointments and people were kind of sad about it. But it still performed well with no anointments. But there's not many guns in this game right now that perform well with no anointments. Anarchy isn't too bad with no anointments because it has self-sustaining damage. But there's a lot of guns in this game that rely on anointments to be good. And I kind of don't like that. But at the same time, maybe it's the Borderlands 3 way. My personal opinion, your damage should be based off the build in your skill tree, your gear, how you spec things, not if the gun has a cool anointment, because to be quite honest with you, that kind of just means, hey, get this cool anointment and put your points wherever you want them to be. And as someone who makes builds, as someone who makes Borderlands 3 content, it aggravates me that I see the meta change constantly. But if it's changing for the better, it's not that big of a deal for me. The last point I want to touch on is the Mayhem 10 modifiers. I've said this before. I said this when they first came out, but I'm completely against them. I'm on team bring back old Borderlands with no modifiers, because it's not the fact that you have to re-roll them. Re-rolling them is, of course, very freaking annoying, but my problem is simply they're not really making the game harder. They're making the game more annoying, if that makes sense. I would rather you, if you went into your badass rank, I mean your Mayhem tab over here, if you removed all these modifiers, but as a penalty, you made the 10,000 armor, shield, and health go up to 12,000 again, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would be okay with that. Or if you're going to keep it the same, at least let us pick each category. And what I mean by that is I could pick one easy, I could scroll through the easy, scroll through the medium, hard, and very hard, and then just click the save button down here, and I have the modifiers I want if you want modifiers to be a part of the game. But either of those options I wouldn't mind. It's just it's been bugging me, because if you have the floor as lava because you don't want anything to affect anything else, every time you look at loot, every time you inspect something, you're gonna die, you're gonna burn. Now, when it comes to the current state of Borderlands and what rating I would give it a B-. And now I say this because Borderlands is still a great game. It has a great feel, it has these great updates, but every game has their downfalls, and I feel like a lot of YouTubers out there, I don't know if they just don't want to talk about it, maybe they don't want to start controversy, but I feel like they're hiding what they really feel with this game. I've seen many other YouTubers talk about these things, like hints towards them, but it was like somebody had a gun to their head and they're like, hey, don't say that, don't make us look bad. But at the end of the day, the meta has always shifted in Borderlands games, and we will adapt to new metas. That's just how Borderlands is. We will find the next best thing. We'll find the next best gear combo. Let me know what you guys think about the whole state of Borderlands 3 in the comments. It's okay if you write 2 sentences or a whole paragraph. I will most likely read them. I want to know what you guys mainly think about the state of Borderlands. What things do you hate? What things get on your nerves? And what things make you happy? What things make you excited for the future of Borderlands? Because I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. But yes, this has been my 4th episode of my Honest Opinion series. So if you guys enjoyed it, of course, show this some love. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're new and you want to join the Flag Pack. And join that Flag Pack Discord. Link will be in the description below. But anyways, I hope you guys have a terrific day. Make sure you guys stay safe during these times. And me and Scorch Jr. will see you guys later.